So for those of you who haven't seen this by now, I've been making a ton of Fallout 4 deleted content, videos, or cut content, whatever makes you happy inside and not dead like me. But again, I've been making one on the 20 minutes of cut content, which I actually reacted to from a YouTube channel that I always forget their name. But go check out that video, I highly recommend it. There was also the video that I talk about the character Ben Gibson, who was a cut Minutemen character who you would actually go and of course find just roaming around fighting some raiders, and eventually you'd assist him, and if you had Preston Garvey as a companion, there would be a cool dialogue between the two where they would make out and do inexplicable things to each other. I'm just joking, obviously. They would, talk about what happened and why Ben decided to leave the Minutemen and all of the above. And again, it's a very good video, in my opinion at least. I highly recommend you guys go and check it out. But in today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about the Super Mutant Refugee camp that was, of course, a cut from Fallout 4. It's a very interesting one. Something that makes you wonder, why was this cut as well? Like, nearly every single cut piece of content in Fallout 4, I just sit there and touch myself inappropriately and stare into the distance and think, Todd Howard, why? Why did you cut this if you practically already completed it? So yeah, again, it's the type of shit that gets me constipated at night. I don't understand why. None of this ended up in the game. Most of it was finished too. Bethesda just needed to click send and not leave me on red, basically, for this game, and they just never did. So again, in today's video, I will be talking about the Super Mutant Refugee camp that was, of course, cut from Fallout 4. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. And today, I'm going to actually be talking about the original idea to have a Super Mutant Refugee camp in Fallout 4. So basically, the Super Mutant Refugee camp would actually border the glowing sea, and the name pretty much is self-explanatory. Basically, this would be somewhat of a settlement, like the Slog, where they had the feral ghouls, the ghouls rather, etc. This would pretty much be a settlement that actually has just, of course, super mutants. It does look to be. Of course, Refugee, it could be, again, super mutants that have just gone there looking for help, potentially on the run, etc. Maybe the Super Mutant Refugee camp might have actually been somewhat of a secret location where, again, they're trying to maybe hide away as far away as possible from a certain type of people. And again, especially considering they're on the glowing, edge of the glowing sea, this would make a lot of sense for that to, be the case. Another thing that is really interesting to me is if we actually do look at this Super Mutant Refugee camp icon, it actually has, the little houses / little hut type things, which is pretty much the logo or icon rather for every single settlement in the game. So again, pretty much this would mean that the Super Mutant Refugee camp would actually most likely have been a settlement. So I feel like Bethesda not actually adding this into the original game is definitely a lost opportunity, considering I think there is quite a nice amount of settlements in the game. And considering there's also rumored to be that Diamond City would actually be a settlement. Again, I believe there was a deleted quest that was attached to that. I'll most likely be making a separate video on this, especially if this video does well and you guys seem to, of course, enjoy it. But one thing that I think would be really cool is that this Super Mutant Refugee camp could have potentially had maybe a lot of missions to do with it. Who knows? Maybe that, Virgil, who actually ended up hiding in the glowing sea in a mountain, who knows, maybe by the time that the Institute, if you decide to defeat the Institute or something like that, maybe he would have eventually moved on from that cave and actually gone to the Super Mutant Refugee camp, especially if maybe you weren't able to find that cure for him. So again, if you couldn't find the cure, maybe he could have just accepted the fate that he was a super mutant, and he would have gone and, instead of being in his lonely cave, he would have been in this Super Mutant Refugee camp. I think that would have been quite the mission, you know, again, or maybe side mission, for example, again, if you couldn't have Virgil take that serum, like if you never went to go get the serum, maybe it would have been a cool thing to recruit him to the Super Mutant Refugee camp, you know, go tell him to go live there. I think that would have been a cool, you know, added thing that, who knows, there could have been a quest to take over this Super Mutant Refugee camp. I also don't believe there's really, I think there's one settlement that's relatively close to the Glowing Sea. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there is. But again, this Super Mutant Refugee camp would have added a nice type of diversity that would have presented itself to the Glowing Sea, and again, that bottom type of the Fallout 4 map, you know, especially that kind of south, you know, kind of type of the map. I think there isn't exactly a whole lot of stuff going on there besides the Glowing Sea. So again, the southwest type of area would have actually been pretty cool to maybe see some more stuff go on there. You know, again, especially that the refugee camp, I think that would have been really, really cool. One thing that I kind of hope is, I kind of hope that a mod author, you know, if any of you guys are mod authors or know any mod authors, I think it'd be really cool to actually create a mod where maybe someone added this, you know, the Super Mutant Refugee camp, just make a settlement rather, and put in a bunch of super mutants, who knows, maybe attaching a quest to it. That would be really, really cool. And then again, making it an actual buildable settlement, I think would be really, really nice. And I'm hoping this video might actually inspire some mod authors to potentially get onto that and make this an actual reality, because I really, really like the possibility of this actually being a thing. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a quest that has something to do with Virgil, but I think it makes the most amount of sense to have like an alternative quest where, who knows, maybe that instead of Virgil just hiding there, you know, when you didn't find his serum and him getting angry and whatnot at you, maybe it would have been like, well, if the option is that you couldn't find the serum or something like that, or you lied to Sturgis saying, you know, you couldn't go and get the serum, then maybe it'd be pretty cool to see, Virgil rather, see him go and join this Super Mutant Refugee camp. I think how it would kind of act is, I think in the original game it would have been somewhat like the Slog. How, you know, the Slog has a bunch of ghouls. There's a couple of them that can give you some quests. Again, it does have the ability to become a settlement. I think it really would have acted like this. Now, if you guys are wondering, well, why wasn't this in the original game? This is kind of one of those situations of like, who knows? This might have been like, considering this piece that we have right now was, I believe, from the No Clip documentary or something like that, one of the No Clip documentaries, where basically this was in a very, very early concept for the Fallout 4 map. It just seems that maybe as they went through the game, they realized that maybe they need to focus on some other areas that maybe they've already got, you know, a ghoul kind of settlement. Do they really need a super mutant settlement? In my opinion, they did, but Bethesda might have just said, well, again, if we keep adding little short stuff like this in, then the game's never going to come out. It's going to take years to come out. Maybe they didn't have enough funding to, again, keep this game in production and add little pieces like this. Who knows, maybe they, you know, just were on that kind of budget type area, and again, that could be the real reason. Who really knows? Bethesda have, you know, a lot of game studios are like that, where they don't have, of course, enough money to, again, delay the game a couple of months just to add these extra pieces of content. Maybe Bethesda just thought the game was really full as it was. But again, I think it's really interesting. I think a mod author / creator should get onto this. I think there is a lot of potential to work with this Super Mutant Refugee camp. But of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my sports channel, MIRL / channels. And don't forget to check out my podcast as well, if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.